He will be sued, and I say will be because nothing has been filed yet, by at least 120 people in the next 30 days.
Today, just to tell the truth, so hopefully we can get down to the bottom of this. I'm 100%, the charges against me are 100% false, and hopefully due to time, we'll start to see that.
Courtroom buzzed with palpable tension as Diddy CS made his latest appearance. The man who once embodied power and charisma now stood as a mere shadow of his former self. Once celebrated for his larger-than-life persona and empire, he now cut a starkly different figure. Gone were the tailored suits and dazzling diamonds of red carpet fame. Instead, a gaunt man in a khaki jumpsuit faced the crowd, his hair streaked with gray and his frame visibly diminished. The once confident swagger was replaced by an air of vulnerability, a sight that even the most jaded spectators of celebrity trials couldn't ignore.
Incredible. And, it brings into context our whole system of innocent till proven guilty. Why is he not being given bond? And, we could debate that all day long. Of all people that's unlikely to flee or get away, well, he's got the resources to flee, but he's so recognizable. And isn't he innocent till proven guilty? Well, yeah, but, we have to recognize there are degrees of innocent till proven guilty.
Journalists, including Elizabeth Milner, couldn't help but comment on Diddy CS's shocking transformation. He looks drastically thinner, Milner told reporters, her voice a blend of surprise and pity. You see a man who's clearly been through it in the last few months. Gone was the image of opulence that had defined Diddy for decades. The yachts, private jets, and extravagant parties felt like relics of another lifetime. Now, a subdued and weary figure sat in a federal courtroom, facing the grim reality of potentially spending the rest of his life behind bars. But it wasn't just his physical appearance that had changed. In court, his demeanor revealed a man struggling under the crushing weight of his circumstances. Observers caught moments of defiance, like when he turned to flash a strained smile at his children in the gallery. Yet even these gestures felt forced, a thin veneer over a rising tide of despair. Beside him, his legal team, led by Mark Adney-Philo and Anthony Rue, worked feverishly, scribbling notes and murmuring strategies. But their tense expressions spoke volumes about the daunting battle ahead as they fought to secure his freedom.
No judge wants to wake up and read the headlines the next day, oh, they treated this guy special and they gave him bond, and now he's gone and he fled from justice. So that's what's in the back of most judges' minds. On the other hand, we deal with cases where clients have significant funds sometimes, and sometimes where there's money, you can craft a unique solution. Years ago, it was the ankle bracelet and the ankle.
This wasn't just any legal battle. It was a fight for survival. Diddy CS's troubles began snowballing after his arrest in September, and the charges against him painted a damning picture. Accusations of coercion, misconduct, and orchestrated schemes placed him at the epicenter of a scandal so massive it seemed to expose the shadowy underbelly of the entertainment industry. Yet, despite the avalanche of evidence and mounting testimonies, Diddy maintained his innocence, pleading not guilty to all charges. His steadfastness was polarizing, hailed as brave by some and dismissed as delusional by others. If Diddy hoped for leniency, however, the courts were unyielding. His legal team's repeated attempts to secure bail ended in resounding failure. Judge Arun Submanan denied every request, citing the risk of witness tampering. Prosecutors argued that Diddy's vast influence and resources made him a serious threat to the trial's integrity. They pointed to previous allegations, including claims of intimidation against individuals tied to the case, as proof that granting him bail would endanger the proceedings. The judge's decision was firm. Diddy would remain behind bars until his trial commenced in May, a grim reality that underscored the gravity of his situation.
All the money he has and all the resources he has, they couldn't craft some solution that lets him be under some form of house arrest. And again, it sounds like special treatment, but the truth of the matter is, to incarcerate somebody like him is expensive to all of us. We're taxpayers, and he's got to have unique situations. You can't put him in general population where, everyone wants a piece of him and everyone wants to be his friend and everyone. So
the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, where Diddy has been held since his arrest, is a world away from the opulence he once enjoyed. Described by former inmates as hell on earth, the facility is infamous for its harsh conditions. Reports of violence, overcrowding, and substandard living standards have plagued the detention center for years. For someone accustomed to silk sheets and gourmet meals, the stark reality of prison life was a jarring adjustment. Michael Cohen, a former inmate, summed it up bluntly. He's waking up on a steel bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, in an 8x10 cell that is, I assure you, disgusting. Sources close to Diddy revealed that the transition was particularly grueling. The food was a frequent complaint, with meals described as bland and unappetizing. Breakfast often consisted of cereal and fruit, while lunch brought unseasoned hamburgers or baked fish. Dinner offered little improvement, with portions of pasta or lentils that left much to be desired. The once vibrant mogul now appeared visibly diminished, his robust physique reduced by the harsh conditions. Rumors swirled about the toll the stress and environment were taking on him, painting a stark contrast to the life of luxury he had once known.
Anything's possible, right? But now this judge has an even harder time, I think, because the past judge locked him up, didn't let him out, and he's still there available for trial. If the new judge lets him out on bond and something goes wrong, and this isn't the analysis that I'm proud to make, right? We shouldn't be saying, well, judges are worried about their own skin and how they look if something bad happens.
And yet, even within the confines of prison walls, Diddy seemed determined to assert control. Whispers began circulating about his alleged attempts to reach out to individuals connected to the case. Prosecutors accused him of trying to contact witnesses and victims from behind bars, an allegation that only solidified the court's decision to keep him detained. While Diddy's legal team fiercely denied these claims, the rumors painted a chilling portrait of a man desperate to hold onto the remnants of a crumbling empire. His courtroom appearances became a study in contrasts. On the surface, Diddy projected a composed demeanor, occasionally flashing smiles at his children and supporters. He even mouthed words of encouragement to his son during one hearing. But in quieter moments, the cracks in his armor began to show. Observers noted how he sometimes slumped in his chair, his hands fidgeting anxiously as his attorneys argued on his behalf. These fleeting glimpses of vulnerability served as a sobering reminder. Even the most powerful figures are not immune to the crushing weight of their circumstances.
Everything. They're going to try to transfer him. They're going to try to get him out. In a normal case where it's a high-profile person or a well-funded person, the prosecution and the judge is a little bit more concerned about a wrongful prosecution because people that are mad that they're being arrested for a crime they didn't commit can turn around and file for malicious.
In many ways, Diddy's presence in court transcended the legal battle itself. It became a powerful symbol. His legal team, acutely aware of the optics, fought fiercely to ensure he could appear without shackles, arguing that such restraints could unfairly bias jurors and shape public perception. The judge ultimately agreed, granting the request. But while the symbolic victory was significant, the larger war was far from over. With every hearing, the stakes seemed to climb higher, the tension in the courtroom growing more palpable. Outside, the spectacle took on a life of its own. Media outlets dissected every detail, from his legal team strategies to his fleeting interactions with family members during proceedings. Public opinion was equally fractured. To some, Diddy represented a man wrongfully accused, a scapegoat in an industry plagued by similar scandals. To others, he was the embodiment of everything wrong with unchecked celebrity power. Social media became the battlefield, with hashtags and heated debates keeping his name trending for all the wrong reasons. Amid the swirl of opinions and scrutiny, one truth remained. Every move Diddy made, inside and outside the courtroom, added fuel to the fire of a case that had captured the nation's attention.
He can't move in the general population, and would he be at risk? Sure, he'd be at risk. There's so many people that have nothing to lose, right? They're going to be in jail the rest of their life. They've got nothing to. They want their 15 minutes of fame. They were friends with Diddy, or they hurt Diddy, or they Diddy, or they did. I mean, there's so many, people in jail that this would be their moment. You can't put them there. Plus,
for all the headlines and courtroom drama, one thing was unmistakable. Diddy's fall from grace was unfolding in real time, a spectacle as gripping as it was tragic. The man once hailed as a pioneer in music and business, who had built an empire on charisma and relentless ambition, was now fighting to salvage the remnants of his reputation. As the allegations grew and the evidence stacked higher, a single question lingered on everyone's mind. How much longer could he hold on? When the courtroom session ended and Diddy was escorted back to his cell, the whispers only grew louder. Rumors swirled of new lawsuits looming on the horizon, with more individuals reportedly preparing to come forward, stories that threatened to dismantle what was left of his legacy. Meanwhile, his legal team, visibly exhausted, huddled together, strategizing their next move. For Diddy, the battle was far from over, but the cracks in his once impenetrable armor were becoming impossible to ignore.
The latest on the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs. This one has so many people talking. The disgraced music mogul facing federal racketeering, conspiracy, and trafficking charges. Both the prosecution and defense teams are set to discuss the next phase of action following the indictment, as investigators work to determine potential co-conspirators. But how exactly did we get here?
What made Diddy's situation even more precarious was the sheer magnitude of the allegations. This wasn't just a single accusation or isolated lawsuit. It was an avalanche. Victims, witnesses, and insiders were stepping forward with stories that painted a damning picture of a man who had allegedly wielded power with impunity for decades. While his attorneys worked tirelessly to dismantle the prosecution's case, the court of public opinion was already reaching its verdict. The headlines and social media debates had shifted his legal saga from a personal battle to a broader commentary on accountability and power. Diddy's story was no longer just about one man. It had become a reflection of an industry, a culture, and a society grappling with the consequences of allowing fame and wealth to shield individuals from scrutiny for far too long. As the courtroom drama unfolded, it became evident that Diddy's fight for freedom was also a fight for something far greater: his legacy.
This is very significant, just from who we associate Diddy being and everything we've seen him do over the decades. Like you said, this is quite the downfall to go from, we saw the mansions back in March that were raided by the feds. So to go from living in those mansions to being in a jail cell right now, I think it really underscores the magnitude of what he's facing and the weight of the federal government.
As the trial approached, the world watched with bated breath, eager to see what new revelations would emerge. The narrative was far from over, and the next chapter promised to be even more explosive. Would more victims come forward? Could Diddy's legal team turn the tide in his favor? Or was this the beginning of the end for one of modern music's most iconic figures? The scale of the allegations against Sean Diddy Combs is something the entertainment world hasn't witnessed in decades. The sheer volume of accusations, the wide range of claims, and the high-profile nature of the case have created a storm of scrutiny that has engulfed not just Diddy, but the entire music industry. With each passing week, more voices have emerged, adding to the weight of the case against him. This is no longer simply about whether Diddy is innocent or guilty. It's about the far-reaching ripple effects this scandal is having across the industry and beyond.
To be expected, just the shock of this and the questions about what is ahead of us. How long is he going to be in custody? Is this an R. Kelly situation? Is he going to not get out for a number of years? Is he going to end up serving a long-term prison sentence from this? Or does he have a chance of beating these charges at a trial that could come, within the next 2?
The allegations, ranging from coercion to elaborate conspiracies, paint a picture of a man who allegedly wielded his power, wealth, and influence in ways that many now find unimaginable. The most damning aspect of this case isn't just the accusations themselves, but their sheer scale. According to insiders, more than 100 individuals have come forward with stories, some dating back decades, others as recent as just a few years ago. These varied accounts all seem to point to a pattern of behavior that has left many questioning how such actions could have gone unchecked for so long. One of the most shocking elements is the level of detail provided by those speaking out. Former associates, employees, and even individuals who were once close to Diddy have shared stories ranging from troubling to downright horrifying. In a 1999 exposé, the Wall Street Journal reported over 200 people arrested and convicted despite overwhelming evidence. These aren't anonymous faces. Many of the individuals making these claims have ties to Diddy's inner circle, making their accusations even harder to dismiss. While Diddy's legal team has worked tirelessly to discredit these accounts, the sheer volume of allegations has made it impossible to ignore the mounting evidence. David Brennan remarked, This tragic parable shows us that we are not just witnessing a spectacular fall, but the unraveling of an empire built on unchecked power.
Kind of crazy, like I said before, they said that 2,300 people reached out to the law firm, and out of the 2,300 people, I guess they decided to go with just a little over 100, which seems like it's they just put out the number and everybody's calling to see if they can get a check.
It's insane. It's insane. Now, again, he did say that nothing has been filed yet because he says he wants to make sure that they do their due diligence and get this right.
Adding fuel to the fire are the growing number of lawsuits that have piled up since late 2023. It all began with a bombshell lawsuit filed by Diddy's former partner, Cassie Ventura, in November 2023. Her claims, which were quickly settled within 24 hours, seemed to open the floodgates for others to come forward. While Diddy's team has consistently maintained that settling the lawsuit was not an admission of guilt, critics argue that the rapid resolution only raises more questions. Why settle so quickly if there's nothing to hide? Cassie's case became the catalyst for a wave of legal actions, with numerous individuals filing lawsuits in the weeks and months that followed. One of the most notable cases involves Joy Dickerson Neal, who accused Diddy of misconduct dating back to the early 1990s. Her story, allegations of being taken advantage of and recorded without her knowledge, has garnered significant attention. Although Diddy's representatives have dismissed her claims as fabricated and a blatant money grab, the case has only added to the growing list of allegations that paint a troubling picture of his past. Then there's the anonymous Jane Doe, whose lawsuit describes alleged incidents involving Diddy and other high-profile individuals. Her claims of orchestrated schemes and elaborate setups have further intensified the public's interest in uncovering the truth.
Her civil lawsuit, Cassie said that she was the victim of abuse, assault, and at the hands of Diddy.
What's even more shocking is the involvement of Diddy's associates in these allegations. According to court documents and insider accounts, several of Diddy's closest confidants are accused of enabling, or even participating in, some of these troubling incidents. Harve Pierre, the former president of Bad Boy Entertainment, has been named in at least one lawsuit, with claims that he played a direct role in facilitating some of the alleged actions. While Pierre has remained tight-lipped about the accusations, his inclusion in the lawsuits raises questions about just how deep this scandal truly goes. Was this a case of one man acting alone, or was there a network of individuals complicit in covering up these alleged activities? The accusations don't stop with Diddy's associates. His business operations have also come under intense scrutiny. Former employees of Bad Boy Entertainment have come forward, describing a toxic work environment where inappropriate behavior was not only tolerated, but allegedly encouraged. These accounts have ignited a broader conversation about accountability in the music industry, with many questioning how such behavior could have gone unchecked for so long. Critics argue that the entertainment world has long operated under a culture of silence, where powerful individuals are rarely held accountable for their actions. Diddy's case, they contend, is a prime example of what happens when that culture is allowed to fester unchecked.
This investigation is ongoing, and I encourage anyone with information about this case to come forward and to do it quickly.
Perhaps the most troubling aspect of this entire saga is the alleged involvement of individuals who claim they were targeted or exploited. Many of these individuals, some of whom were aspiring musicians or models, have described feeling powerless against the weight of Diddy's influence. According to their accounts, they were often lured in with promises of career opportunities, only to find themselves trapped in situations they couldn't escape. These stories have resonated deeply with the public, sparking outrage and calls for greater protections for vulnerable individuals in the industry. The media has played a crucial role in amplifying these voices, with outlets like CNN, Reuters, and the New York Times dedicating extensive coverage to the case. Courtroom sketches of Diddy sitting beside his legal team have become symbolic of his fall from grace, while interviews with alleged victims have added a deeply human element to the unfolding story. Journalists like Elizabeth Milner have been at the forefront of covering the case, providing detailed accounts of courtroom proceedings and insider scoops that have kept the public captivated. Milner, who attended several pretrial hearings, described the atmosphere as tense and heavy, with every word spoken in court carrying the weight of what was at stake.
Alone, do you foresee that there could be other charges related to this case?
I'm not taking anything off the table.
No one wants him mentioned.
Meanwhile, the entertainment industry has been forced to grapple with the fallout. Diddy's once sterling reputation as a music mogul and entrepreneur has been shattered, with brands and business partners distancing themselves from him in droves. Revolt, the television network he co-founded, announced in November 2023 that Diddy had stepped down as chairman. While his representatives described the move as temporary, insiders suggest it was a strategic decision to mitigate the damage to the brand. Other ventures, including his partnerships in fashion and liquor, have also suffered, with some companies reportedly cutting ties altogether. Even Diddy's own family hasn't been spared from the spotlight. His children, who have remained supportive of their father throughout the ordeal, have attended several court hearings, offering silent encouragement from the gallery. However, their presence has also raised questions about how the scandal is impacting them personally. Observers noted how Diddy mouthed the words, "You okay?" to one of his sons during a recent hearing, a moment that underscored the emotional toll this case is taking on his family. Critics argue that while Diddy's actions are at the center of this scandal, the ripple effects are being felt by everyone close to him.
So yesterday, on Monday, Diddy celebrated his 55th birthday, but this year was a lot different. It was no Diddy parties. It was none of that. None of that stuff. Well, happily, so I guess right now. But anyway, so this is his first birthday behind bars.
As the lawsuits continue to pile up and the trial date grows closer, the question on everyone's mind remains: how will this all end? Diddy's legal team has vowed to fight the accusations with everything they've got, insisting that the truth will eventually come to light. However, with each new allegation, the odds seem to stack higher against him. Meanwhile, the court of public opinion has already begun rendering its verdict, with many believing Diddy's downfall is inevitable. Social media is flooded with commentary, hashtags, and debates as people from all walks of life weigh in on the case. For some, it's a moment of reckoning for a man who once seemed untouchable. For others, it's a sobering reminder of the darker side of fame and power. But for all the outrage, there's also a sense of curiosity about what else might come to light. Insiders suggest that the lawsuits filed so far are just the tip of the iceberg, with more individuals reportedly preparing to come forward. If true, this could mark one of the largest scandals in music history, with far-reaching implications for the industry as a whole. The question isn't just whether Diddy will be held accountable, but whether the industry will finally confront the systemic issues that allowed this alleged behavior to go unchecked for so long.
It's a question of that, but when you read through the indictment, it's pretty clear who could be indicted as a co-conspirator. Right now, there are people in the indictment who would be considered unnamed co-conspirators, but clearly have played a role in this conspiracy. And I think prosecutors have some big leverage on them because they're hoping that they testify against Diddy as prosecution witnesses.
Then there's the matter of Diddy's legacy. For decades, he was celebrated as a pioneer, a trailblazer who redefined what it meant to be a music mogul. His influence extended far beyond the charts, shaping fashion, culture, and even politics. But now, that legacy hangs in the balance, on the verge of being overshadowed by scandal. Whether he's ultimately found guilty or not, the damage to his reputation may be irreversible. For someone who built an empire on his name, the loss of that name's value is perhaps the greatest punishment of all. As the world watches this saga unfold, one thing is clear: this story is far from over. With the trial set to begin in May 2025, the coming months promise even more revelations, more drama, and more questions about the man who once seemed unstoppable. Will Diddy's legal team manage to turn the tide, or will the weight of the allegations finally bring him down? And what will this case mean for the future of accountability in the entertainment industry? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more intriguing celebrity stories. Until next time.